the off season? I know it's early, but especially as you worked with these guys through the summer, what are some of the things you think the guys will be able to do a little bit differently when you bring in a Miles Rice, a Kanan Carlisle, a Luke Goody, and Omar Ballo?
Well, we're a little bit deeper than we've been in the past years with our ball club. We still have an inside presence with Ballo and Malik, and LT we can post some as well. But we got guards now that are a lot quicker than we've had in the past. X was probably the quickest guard we've had since we've been here. But I think Miles and Kanan bring a totally different look. And then with Goody, Bryson being, the young freshman who's, very talented, still got to learn the college game, but has played extremely well, I think, this summer for us. But Goody brings us some shooting. We can get Gallo back and get him back in the form that he shot the ball a couple years ago. That will help, and McKenzie has shot the ball well, and Miles and Kanan can make shots. So, it just brings us a totally different look, and we're still in the process of putting it all together.
Daniel and Jeff?
Yeah, Mike, last year you mentioned a lot just how new you all were, even, around like mid-January. With so many new faces this year, I'm wondering what you feel like you learned last year as far as maybe easing that acclimation process.
Well, again, I don't really want to focus on last year because it's behind us, and, I'm moving forward and kind of focus on the players that we have coming in to this season. This summer was a lot of work that we had to put in because we had 6 guys that left our ball club. 1 to the draft, 2 that graduated, and 3 to the portal. So there was a lot of work that had to be done this summer to fill our roster. And I thought we did a pretty good job of putting a roster together. Our summer play was great. Guys were on time and did what was expected of them, and it's been a carryover to our fall play. So, it's a lot of work, man, when you add pieces and all the things you got to do on both ends of the ball to get better. It's time consuming, and a lot of work that's got to be done.
Jeff and Mike?
Morning, Coach, or good afternoon. A number of recruiting prospects have said that they feel you guys are going to play much differently this year. What do you envision that looking like?
Well, the fact that we are a quicker team, and I think we can hopefully shoot the 3-ball better and make free throws. But I like to play a little bit quicker this year, where we're not walking it up. There were times we had fast break points that we made off of turnovers with our defense, but I like to play a little bit faster on makes, and that's something that we've been working on since we put this team together this summer.
Mike, then Alex?
Yeah, hey Coach, do you see Umar Ballo and Malik Renew as complementary players, or are they guys that you'd like to have in different rotations, or is that just something you still need to figure out and tinker with as the season goes on?
Well, again, Ballo has shown that when you throw him the ball down there, he's a load. And Malik, has graduated from his freshman year. He made a major jump last year. And, he didn't shoot very many threes. He made a few, but, he did a lot of his work around the bucket. And, we've tried this summer to move him away from the bucket a little bit and playing inside outs and outside, and he's kind of held his own. His biggest challenge is going to be guarding smaller players at that position, but that's something that we've been working on when he has to match up against McKenzie and Goody in practice at the 4 spot.
Alex, then Niz?
What has stood out so far the most with Miles Rice and just how he's looked through the summer and then just the workouts so far this fall?
His speed, it changes the game for us, along with Canaan. And the fact that he can score the ball. His biggest challenge right now is just really being a solid point guard and making sure he understands there are other players around him that can also help too. And, that's a learning process for a lot of point guards when you're that young. You got to include everybody and figure out how to make everybody happy when you got the ball in your hand. It's just not him. I mean, it's everybody who has the ball, because we have a number of guys now that can make plays with the basketball that helps you.
Niz, then back row.
Yeah, Coach, with Trey Galloway, do you anticipate him being ready for the opener? And how important has his leadership been through all the changes throughout the offseason?
He's been great. He's just, been spending time trying to get back healthy. He's been doing a lot of our conditioning work. He's not on the floor doing 5-on-5 with physical contact, but he's done drills and things of that nature. So we've kind of have brought him along slowly based on how he's feeling. But we're hoping, we open up next week, we're hoping that he's able to bang a little bit and get back going and playing at a level where he played last season.
I try to piggybacking off that a little bit. With so many newcomers, having Trey and Anthony coming back, how vital is that to the success of the team?
Well, it's very important. Our seniors play a major role, and I've always believed that in college, because they've been around the longest. We got a number of seniors now with Barlow and LT and Gallo and Anthony and Goody. We're gonna have to lean on those guys to show leadership and step up and play.
Kara?
Coach, obviously Gabe Cupps had to step up a lot last season. How have you seen him grow through this offseason and just kind of continue to build off what he started last season?
Well, he's had a good summer program. He played well throughout the summer, and he's come back this fall and he's played well. He's holding his own. He's competitive. He's a kid that likes to compete. He's one of the first kids in the gym and one of the last to leave. So he's going to be in the thick of things. He's going to force coach to have to play him. That's what it's about, competition. And, we got plenty of it now.
Seth, then Todd.
Mike, is with Ja'Kai Newton, I guess, is he all recovered from everything last year? And I guess last year, while he was rehabbing, what was he able to do to kind of develop as a player while he was on the side?
Well, last year didn't get to do a whole lot, so basically his learning sessions came in film and just watch him practice. And he still hasn't fully recovered. He's had some good days. But we can't consistently keep him in practice and on the basketball floor yet. And, that's been frustrating for him, but, he just got to keep working through it. That's all I can tell him. And medical people are telling him the same thing, that you just got to keep working until you can get back to where you can constantly stay on the floor and play basketball. That's kind of been his hang up right now.
Todd, then second row.
Mike, Mackenzie Mbako played his best basketball at the end of last year. What was the point of emphasis you gave him on in terms of improving his game in the offseason, and how does he kind of fit in with the mix of players that you brought in?
Well, again, it's all about growth, man. You make a jump, there's always another jump in basketball that you got to try to reach. And, he's played well this summer. He's improved from last year. It took him some time, which we thought it might take him some time. And once he started to figure out some things, he became a pretty good player for us. But this summer, he's made another jump. and which I expect, him to make that jump. So only time will tell with all of our guys when we start playing, where we go with our ball club.
Second row, then Tom.
Coach, you kind of spoke about the depth of this roster. Is there a chance down the stretch that this rotation won't shrink but stay at maybe a 10, 11 guy rotation?
Well, I wish I could play 12 guys, but that's just not the nature of this business in college basketball or NBA basketball. It's tough playing 12 guys. I got away with it in New York when I played 10 guys because we were deep. And we are deep this year. So only time will tell, man. I mean, if I could play 10 guys, I'm going to play them and give everybody a shot to play. But they got to produce, you just don't give minutes to be giving them. It's so competitive in practice right now that everybody's fighting to play. And I get it. That's how it should be. So only time will tell.
Tom.
Mike, of your 4 rosters here, seems like this one is the most with plenty of guards and wings who can shoot it, but also run the floor. With this makeup, will we see some different kind of wrinkles with what you might want to try to do this year?
Well, I'd like to get to some small ball this year, like I'd had in New York, where Mack and Goody can play some 4, and we can still be athletic enough out on the floor with one of the bigs to compete at a high level. And I've experimented with it a little bit this summer and this fall play, and only time will tell, man. That's where I like to get to, where we don't have to constantly pound the ball a lot. Let's play some small ball and get up and down the floor some.
Right here, and then June.
Mike, talking about max development at the end of the year and then talking about that depth this year, where do you find the time and the areas for some of these younger pieces like Gabe Cupps and Bryson Tucker to break through the rotations and be able to develop throughout the year, even if there are lighter reps?
I'm not saying Gabe and Bryson won't play. They've been very competitive, since we've had them. And Bryson has come in and shown that he belongs. So, it's going to be tough. I got a tough job this year, but that's okay, man. But at the end of the day, I feel good about when I turn over there and putting somebody in the game that they're ready to come in and produce. And like I said, only time will tell.
Jim?
Mike, you talk about all the things that you'd like to do this season. With all the new faces that have come in, what has been the most seamless way of getting these guys together, but what has been the most challenging of getting to where you want to get with the new additions?
Well, it's not been a big challenge. We did a lot of things this summer from a bonding standpoint, so these guys could kind of get to know and be around one another. And that's been probably the most we've done since we've been here. And that helps. But it starts in practice, it starts in conditioning, guys pushing one another and doing what's asked of them. And I have really no complaints with this group. They seem to like each other and they all pushing for the same thing, man, to win basketball games. And that's where it starts. And doing that, I think we put ourselves in a nice position once the season starts to get off to a good season and see where it leads us.
Zach?
Coach, we know that you like to preach defense first. How have you seen this group this offseason come together on that end of the floor?
Well, I'm going to always preach defense because I truly believe that's what wins games. It keeps you in ball games when you're struggling to score the basketball. And that's been a big challenge. I thought this summer our offense was so ahead of the defense because we hadn't put all of our things from a defensive standpoint in. And now that we're starting to put defense in, it's been a struggle for guys to really score, break loose and score. And, it's kind of give and take, either way. You're going to have to build a good defensive team. And offensively, you're going to have to be sufficient enough to the point where you score the basketball. And I think we can do both. But only time will tell. We gotta make it work for us and keep working and practice and building it.
Last question here.
Yeah, Mike, I know you've used Trey Galloway kind of in a few different ways, whether it's like running the point or playing off the ball. And I know you haven't seen him on the court in 5-on-5 you mentioned, but with the new pieces you've added, where do you sort of see him fitting in? And is it good that he kind of has experience playing a few different spots?
It's not gonna change. The way we play, everybody's capable of handling the basketball, and we struggled in that area a little bit last season with certain players. And Galloway can handle it, Carlisle can handle it, Miles can handle it, Goody's now even handling the basketball, Bryson can handle it, Gabe can handle the basketball, McKenzie's gotten better. So, that's important, in the style of play and how we want to play. Everybody's got to feel comfortable in handling the basketball. I have no problems with our bigs. LT has never really handled it that much like he's doing now. Ballo has handled it at 2 various stops, playing 5 out as well as posting the basketball, so I feel comfortable with him. And Malik has always been skilled enough, to handle the basketball. So that helps when you're talking about building a good offense, because you trust guys to try to make the right play. So we just got to make sure our system, once it's in play, everybody's doing what's asked of them.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, guys. Enjoy.